Great. Okay, so this is going to be really fun. So yeah, like we'll do the line, we'll do the Van Gogh, and then there's also a couple other paintings that we'll look at. We may not sketch them, but we'll just see how much time we have. There's a today's the full moon. I don't know if you know that, but tonight the moon will be at its fullest. And there was a William Hogarth, who's a British painter, who does this interior scene of this family at the table, and out the window he does this really nice drawing, painting I should say, of the full moon. So I thought maybe we could look at that. It's like cloudy and misty, and if it's a full moon, you know, might as well draw the full moon. Okay, are your pencils ready? Any questions before we go into this? Oh, and I also have a questionnaire that I'm gonna email to you guys. Yeah, maybe I should just email it, and you can email it back to me with the answers. It's just so I can gauge what some of your interests are, as far as art goals and things that you want to learn how to draw, so that we're not wasting anybody's time. I know butterflies aren't at the top of everybody's list, but it's okay. It's still fun. The rose bush is amazing. So anyway, before I get interrupted, there's 3 versions of the roses. Did we sketch the roses last week? Did I do that in this class? No. Okay. I'll teach you all a shortcut for roses, which should be pretty fun. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the vector for the angle of our butterfly. We'll do head, thorax, abdomen. So this is the angle of the center line. We might have a sidebar project too. So I'm seeing this as, you know, there's a rounded back of the skull, and then a side plane for the head, and then it concaves in. Concave, you guys know the difference between concave and convex. You know, you get one, you know, the concave, it's all relative. So for example, you know, the wings are all convex out, meaning they swell out, puffing outwards, whereas like the face here, this was a concavity, concave versus convex. So there's 2 kinds of, and again, it's relative. Head, thorax, abdomen. I taught this earlier, and I keep seeing this as like a diamond shape. You know, it could be, I mean, you could use this, you could use an oval. It's all interpretive. I think it is like just one brush stroke. That's the other thing. It's like we're drawing a butterfly, but really we're drawing Picasso's brush strokes that represent a butterfly. So you can think about it in two ways. One, you can think, okay, well, yes, I'm drawing a butterfly, but you can also think about it like I'm drawing Picasso's brush strokes. That didn't show up very well. That's so interesting. Okay, so can you see that there's a rectangle? He draws a rectangle almost like as a border. So I tried to use a pastel, that didn't work. It's like 2 overlapped, you know, and you could use one or you could use both. You know, one is like kind of a solid mass. This is so fascinating. I hadn't seen this before. Picasso's main starting point when he kind of got recognized was Cubism. And I'm just going to draw a little sketch up here. So Cubism was like, imagine if you saw the eyes from straight forward and then the nose directly from the side. You know what I mean? Or you could even say the eyes are here and then the nose is on the side of the head here. He basically put features not that weren't part of the face, but from different angles, like one view from the side, one view from the front, maybe one view from below. It like turned the masses around. And so I bring that up because if you were to look at a butterfly from the side, I'm just going to draw like a miniature butterfly here. And you get the head, the thorax, maybe the abdomen, almost like a bumblebee. You see how the bumblebee, you can have like a flat bottom and then a round top. And I'm wondering if this, the abdomen here, it's like one side is very straight and the other side is very curvy. And then it almost looks like there's a like this tip, and it could be the brushstroke, but it's definitely asymmetrical, meaning the one side is kind of profoundly different than the other side. If I zoom in for a little bit, there are some textural lines. And even when I'm just thinking out loud, thinking about a butterfly abdomen, I do envision kind of like those, like kind of horizontal lines. So symmetry, I believe, is really important in art making. And Picasso decided, in this case, maybe it's not that important. I also am seeing almost like another rectangle around the abdomen too. Just gonna choose a different color. Head, thorax, abdomen. Maybe there's eyes on the butterfly's head. I just noticed that right now too. Or at least there's a white patch on in the middle of his head that divides the head into two parts. So maybe there are two eyes. We've got these kind of cliche antennae that kind of come out almost like horns or antlers. Okay, next trick for the butterfly, if you're ever drawing butterflies like from nature, all of the wings come out of the middle portion, thorax. So I like to find a perpendicular line, which kind of represents the bottom of the upper wings. And then let me zoom out even further. I'm drawing my butterfly too big. So if I think about the butterfly upper wings, it's like two triangles. The bottom part being straight, the hypotenuse, so the long side being just like this general arc. So I'm doing, notice if I'm doing left side, right side, I'm really angling for symmetry here. Picasso didn't angle that hard for symmetry, but still your butterfly will be happier when both wings are in the same ballpark. There's nothing more awkward than a butterfly with one small wing and one big wing. So I'm angling towards symmetry, not married to it. All right, so we'll get this little curving top, and then now we have to link up, the base of the upper wing to the top corner, so the second leg. And it looks like there's a nice semicircle, and then a middle semicircle. So there's like 3 little bumps on that far side. Very pleasant. I think Picasso was going for that here, but maybe when we're right-handed, left-handed, if you're ambidextrous, you do the right wing with your right hand and then do the left wing with your left hand, if that's a thing. Because drawing the same object in reverse is different when you have different hands going. Or, I guess I'm saying if you're doing both wings with the right hand. He's using one big thick brush stroke for the silhouetted edge of our wing. So we, using pencils or color pencils, we have to kind of draw that line. And it's okay, we can draw a thick line. So you could even have seen as like an inner part and then an outer part, like this would be the inner part, that would be the outer part. You're kind of defining the thickness of that line. So good. Or you can like shade it as you color it. You know what I mean? Like you're coloring and drawing. Degas was kind of famous for saying painting is just drawing with colors. And it's like, seems so obvious, but not necessarily. A lot of times people, subdivide drawing and painting as if they're two separate things. And they have separate conditions, but the marriage of an abstract concept with an identifiable thing, like a left brain, right brain, that is the same. That's the synonymous part. This bottom wing is, I think, so beautiful. And seeing like the top part is a triangle, the bottom part is a circle, which would make it like a teardrop. You can, if you think about the teardrop, because it's got to come above the abdomen. Now, the abdomen might be over top of it, but the wing itself has to attach to the thorax. And his side is smaller than the right side. This wing, upper wing, is smaller than the left side. So maybe he's balancing out his butterfly by having, the bottom part bigger on this side, smaller on that side, whereas the bigger part is above, the smaller part is below. It may have been an intentional counterbalance. Sometimes artists just get lucky. I mean, it doesn't create that effect of like large, small, small, large, you know, and almost like creating a sense of a movement. It does do that. Was that in Picasso's mind when he was painting this? I don't really know. It could, I mean, it could be. He would acknowledge that that effect was happening. Again, whether the intention is there, it's hard to say. I'm gonna switch colors again. This point is just the decoration part. So when I say I'm angling towards symmetry, in actual butterflies, you would draw the right side and the left side. The light in my room is on this sensor. So, and I'm wondering if he actually had little objects that he ran through the press. If these weren't like little pieces of, maybe like pieces of cardboard that he dipped in paint and stuck on there, or whether they were almost maybe little pieces of glass, or I don't know, like little tiles. Like I could see his process being not just drawing. Yeah, so feel free to have liberties with how these decorations are. There's ovals. We'll just kind of more get in tune with the language. My brain's attracting this oval. I think maybe because they're the largest. And they have an outside oval and an inside oval. This is a different blue. Oh my gosh, it's a different blue. And it's not even this is a piece of pastel. Wow. That's nice. I started with light blue ovals, and then I put this like dark blue center. The dark blue is almost like too aggressive, but it's pastel, so it's bolder colors. In this wing, the top left wing, I can see a bunch of circles, and I'm not seeing the circles really show up anywhere else, but I can do whatever I want. So I'm going to do left side, right side, kind of keep up the feeling of symmetry, or the fact of symmetry. This is a Prismacolor. With the tone that we were sketching, with the black with the border. Ooh, could I do? I'm looking at some of the other works, like the other lines that are being made. You know, it looks like he was able to draw a silhouetted edge. Whether he drew the silhouetted line first, or whether it was added on later, not really sure. But I'm going to follow that line and kind of shore up my edge of my wing. That's nice. This will probably make a very nice greeting card. People love butterflies, and they love colors. And again, and they love Picasso. That's the other thing about Picasso. That's what's wild about Picasso. People love Picasso. He was like probably the most, popular artist of like the last 60 years, maybe 80 years even. I don't know. I enjoy his freedom, like his sense of liberation with his art making. It's like he just doesn't. He's like impervious. He doesn't have any self-doubt really. Now that if you read his writing, that's not true. Every painter has self-doubt. It's just, sometimes you get in the zone. When you're in the zone, it's like being great at a sport or any other activity, or playing piano or whatever, like any skill-based thing. Once you get to a certain aptitude, you can play it or you can do it, and you don't even have to think about it. It's just automatic, and you lose track of time, and it's beautiful. It's like where you want to be. And Picasso was able to make art in that zone, if you want to call it the zone. You know, I want to overdo it because it looks like he overdid it, but we also don't have all day. So I'd like to get into some of the flowers. So I just keep finding more colors, and it looks like, see this, like the space between the big blue, you know, there's lots of pattern, lots of textures in there. There's also like this very faint light area that is inside the part of the wing that's inside the border. And I think I'm gonna find a color and lightly, maybe purple. Ooh, purple. So I'm gonna, all of the rest of my, you know, empty space that I haven't put decoration, I'm gonna put some purple. There's nothing wrong with having the paper show through. In fact, strategically, you do want the paper to show through, especially with colored pencils, especially with watercolor. But you also don't want your parts of your picture to look unresolved. You don't want them to look like you just forgot to do something. And again, these are decisions that are personal. And you should trust your own, you know, sensibility. I put a border around the outside of our loop, you know, of our wing, and now I'm going to put a border on the inside, just because. I don't know. I like my guy. I like my butterfly. Ooh, you guys want to see the? I don't know if I can do it. At the end of class, when I can move, remind me. I have the board that my chalkboard drawing is still on the chalkboard. I haven't erased it yet, so I'll show you guys at the end of class. It's like 3 feet big, 3 feet long. I should have done class in front of that thing. Okay. I'm going to combine a lesson that I did last week with a lesson that we're doing this week, and I'll show you what I mean. Take another 30 seconds or so. Like, don't feel like you're being completely rushed, but I'm going to switch over in about 30 seconds to a minute and talk about the mechanics of the rows, and then also the mechanics of the leaves. So, and this is honestly more of an easy part than a hard part. And I do want, try to find like maybe even a rose, like a red rose color. Sometimes roses are like more maroon. Sometimes they're bright red. I mean, the possibilities of color in here are endless. And, you know, and this is where it really is, people talk about abstraction and representation, and, one of my teachers was like, all art is abstract. And I'm like, oh, I don't see that, you know? But what he was saying is that art is, the idea is that, there's a French painter named Magritte who painted a pipe, and underneath it in French he wrote, "This is not a pipe." And people at the time were like, it is a pipe. You know, what else is it? It's like, it's got, you know, it looks exactly like a pipe. It's got the stem. It's got, like, you can put tobacco in it, whatever. It's a pipe. And he was like, it's not a pipe. And the whole thing was that it's a painting of a pipe, meaning they're brush strokes on a canvas. So it's like a linen canvas with paint on it that's painted with the paint. It's not a pipe. Like, you can't take that thing and use it. So that's the idea where all art is abstract. It's like, this is not a butterfly. And these are actually not paint strokes. Whether you drew this as a butterfly or whether you drew this as Picasso paint strokes, they're actually pencil marks on paper. And the way that they're arranged, people are able to read them or interpret them as either butterfly or Picasso brushstrokes. And in a way, that is, you know, you take a section of this, you remove it. As soon as you can't identify what it is, that becomes abstract. It can still be beautiful. It's just, if it doesn't have a left brain identifying name, like a qualifier, it's considered abstract. And every single part of a representation, you can pull it out, and it could be perceived as abstract. Anyway, it took me like a long time to understand what he was talking about. Okay, the roses. So I had we did do the tulip though, correct? Did we draw the tulip last week? No? What did we do?
No, you did
Last week we did.
our younger siblings.
Last week we did the hummingbird and then the snail. I think you did that stuff with our little sibling.
I did do it with so that's why I'm confusing it. All right, sweet. So this will I don't know whether we did with that. I don't even know if I did the rose with them, but got it. Okay, yeah, it makes total sense. So you guys get a little taste of what they did last week, and we're gonna compare. This is like a Picasso rose, but this is the child drawing manual version, and they're actually really, really similar, which makes me really happy, which means that like that drawing book, yes, it's targeted for younger kids, but it's still like relatively competent. So, okay, so this is what they say in the book. The rose, you can start off with the center of the rose as like a spiral. Then there's the next layer of petals, which are rounded. So there's this smaller layer of inner petals, which are rounded. So you have a spiral, then it's rounded. Then the petals start becoming pointed. So it's basically, and I think I've told you about like the S curve, you know, it's like the letter S, it's basically one arc and another arc combined. The petals are made up of two S curves. So there's an S curve to a point, and then the point S curves back down into the flower. And we're gonna go S curve to a point, S curve to a point. And then there's basically just two rows of those, you know, pointed petals. So the petals just keep getting bigger as they move out of the center. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to do a really quick one. If you look at the one in the middle, you look at the one in the middle, you look at the one on the right, doesn't actually matter. But that's basically the same format. It's the petals of the flowers are seen from the side, but the idea is the same. So imagine you start with a tight center. I'm doing the middle one right now. I'm doing this one. So it starts with a tight center. Then we're going to get a series of rounded petals. Then we get pointed petals. Now Picasso's using brush strokes. So in a way, where each one of these was just a line, and it was talking about the outside of the brush stroke of a petal, you can actually draw the brush stroke. And it's not that bad. And the way Picasso does these, I'll do another one, okay, in case I did that like way too fast. The way Picasso does, you know, sketches, I don't know how he even did it. I wonder if he like wiped the middle of his finger. He may have made like a brush stroke and then wiped the inside clean. In fact, I would bet $100 that he did that. He may have used a rag. He probably put a finger on his rag and he wiped out. So what that does is the outside of the petals become dark. And the reason that is such a beautiful solution is because that's how the wings of the butterfly are. There's like a thicker border to each section of and it's got a lighter inside. Now the lighter inside is just light on the petals of the rose, and the inside of the butterfly is decorative, but who cares? They still have thick borders. And I can echo that same theory with the kids version that I just drew on this side. So even though they're different, you know, they're distinctly stylistically two different roses. But I can make them, because they have the unifying color, and they are both intentionally representing roses, I think the connection is going to be harmonious enough. Here, and I'm going to move my paper up a little bit just so I can create this bush scenario. I'm kind of running out of real estate on the right side because this iPad. I have two other cameras that are so much better, and I had to use this for a whole year. And when I come back to the iPad, I'm like, oh, I've so outgrown this technology. Okay, so let's just do it from the rose that's on the side. We can start with the inner spiral. Then I can start with some rounded petals. And then I can do some pointed petals. Now, this is more of a bud, meaning the flower hasn't completely opened, but that's where I'm at. I'm doing like the inner circle and then some curving petals, and then, you know, some pointed petals that aren't quite fully exposed. And then the game changer for this one, which is going to lead us into the next phase, is the these little protective leaves. And I think technically they're petals because they're part of the blossom, but they're green and they're durable and they're thicker and they protect the delicate inside of the bud as it's growing. So cool. The one thing that's really important, and hopefully you guys can see it even on mine, depending on your page, depending on the rectangle that you ultimately choose, depending on how many different flowers you want to draw, depending on how many leaves, like how big you want to make this bush, how many other butterflies you want to add, we have used Picasso as a jump off point. It's just an inspiration. It's to give us like a starting point of content, and we can use it and change it and deviate from it to make the best piece the best art piece that you're capable of. And because of the constraints that I'm under with the Zoom, you know, I'm constantly deviating from my reference, and I feel good about that. It's like those are my own personal choices that I'm going that I input into the design. And you know, it's like you might be like, oh, can I do that? And it's like, yes, you can, and please do that. Okay, so that being said, I'm just going to do a quick rundown of how to do the leaves, and they're not quite as obvious. The one that's the most clear is the one that's, you know, closest. You know, and I guess it's not closest, but it's closest to the abdomen. And I'll just give you a little run in here. So you can follow the curve, the center of the leaf, and then it basically makes almost that classic leaf form, meaning that it's like an almond, you know, or it's made up of an arc, maybe an S curve on one side, maybe an arc on the other side. The things that you need to know is that it has a jagged edge. So you're going to make this toothed, almost like a sawtoothed edge. That's almost like the signature of the rose leaf. And then the next thing about it, which is characteristic, is that the veins are prominent enough, and they are not staggered. They basically make Y shapes. So it's like left side, right side, they both touch. So I used a heavy dark line, and I'm shading it in with a slightly lighter line. The stems themselves are thicker, so you can do a left side and a right side. And then they have thorns. Every rose has its thorn. My green is not as rich, and I think they're like a deep neutral blue green is what rose leaves have. I'm using kind of like a Kelly green beautiful green. Just it's not as deep and it's not as dark, I think, as a what's this one? Olive green. Let me try one over here. Maybe I'll try one up here right in the middle. I did a construction line initially for the silhouetted edge. Once you get good at it, you can just go right for the sawtooth. And my leaves here are looking kind of thin. I'm looking at some of these other ones, and I think they're wider, almost like more pear-shaped. You've got plenty of opportunities to you can draw a bunch of different versions. Yeah, I like that they have more of a rounded bottom. Yeah, this one is curving kind of to the right. This one's curving to the left. This one might go off screen. I guess it sort of has to. And then, you kind of accumulate all of these stems and these thorns and these leaves and the blossoms, and you get something that will ultimately be and represent a bush. Ooh, look at this one. This one's nicely off to the side. Yeah, the olive green is not doing it either. Yeah. That might be it. I don't know if you can see this, but this one is more of a blue-green. A little bit darker. I know this was supposed to be a warm-up. Hopefully everybody's warmed up. But we got more time to go. I'm going to, so it's 11:11. Let's go to 11:15. No, maybe 11:20. If we do 11:20, we got 9 minutes. So maybe try to resolve, let's try to get a picture. Let's try to get something that's like, and whether you crop it off now, kind of like shut it down in a way. If you know you can come back in later, you don't have to crop it down so aggressively. If you want to keep working on it and develop it into like a lot more. I'm just for my own well-being, and so I can almost set a target for completion. I'm going to try and resolve everything that's inside of this box. And that will be, I'm going to interpret another rose. When I say interpret, I mean invent another rose. So it looks like I have like one that angles up and to the left, one that's straight out at us, one that's like a classic rose kind of seen from the side, and then this rose I wanted to make it something more of like a bud, even an earlier stage of blossoming. Oh, that's interesting. So I had the idea, with color pencils, you get, you can mix colors. You definitely can mix. You can really only mix like 3, like 2 are really good to mix, and then 3 is fine. But once you get mixed more than that, the wax just builds up and then nothing really blends. My vision, my idea that I just had, I have these dark silhouetted outsides. And then if you look at Picasso's, there's still a little bit of a tone. Like it's not pure white, like the background or some of the dots inside of the wings. So I think I might just give a light, almost like a light color pencil wash. Just a general tone, not as dark as my line lines, but kind of like pulling the whole flower together. I'm wondering if I need to do that for the green. I did do that for the petals up here, or the leaves up there. Mhm. Maybe one more rose in this corner. That might be nice. I did a spiral, I did my curves, and now I'm going to do my points. I'm going to thicken up my edges. So what I've done is I've kind of, just by copying Picasso, I deconstructed his, his strategy, his symbol, or the criteria for a rose. And now I've kind of made it, I'm just using it, making it my own. And not only did I use his, but I also used the drawing manual as well. So I'm using similar strategies to make original art. And knowing that there's a corner of the picture is, it's just how it's. Do I wish there was not a corner? I mean, kind of. But in this corner I put a rose. In this corner, in the other corner, I put the leaf. In this corner, maybe I'll do the sun. I mean, I know like every kid when they're drawing does this immediately. And it's just so, I used to think it was like for kids, or it's not, it's so good. Putting suns in pictures, I'm just like, I love it. Sun is so important. Maybe I'll put a moon over here. It's our calendar, it's our days. It's why we sleep. Oh no. I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna draw the moon, and then I'm gonna shade the sky. Yes. We got 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. And I had not even thought about this. I would have added more time, but let's see. You don't necessarily need to put an object there, and you can let the background be white. You don't have to. You just be blank paper. But I'm not working very large, and a blue sky makes the sun that much brighter. So there's a book entitled "Be Quick but Don't Hurry." It's a book by the UCLA basketball coach and one of his one of his pupils basically. And it's about, how to achieve, develop good habits, basically a success ethic. It's like a self-help book. But it's about sports, but it can be about so many other endeavors. And I use that mantra, be quick, but don't hurry, all the time. Because being quick means that you're efficient and you're going to be productive. When you hurry, you make mistakes and you wind up creating more work for yourself in the end. Another mantra is a lazy man's load. And so lazy man's load is if you're like stacking wood and you're trying to take 7 logs when really you can only carry like 4, like competently or with balance. And so if you try to do too many logs per load, it's you think you're working harder, but you're actually being more lazy, right? You should just take less logs, take more trips, and you won't wear yourself out, you won't get injured, and it'll be a much more pleasurable experience. So not that this is a lazy man load situation, but this is a be quick but don't hurry situation, because I'm trying. It's 11:20 right now. We do have to switch over. So I'm trying to like pull myself back in so I don't work too fast to finish when that would not necessarily be necessary. I can always come back to this, and you all can always come back to this. I just like that I finished a drawing and it's not even noon yet. It's a good day. It's going to be a good day, people. Nice. Well, how about that for a warm up? Goodness gracious. There's half the class. There's a term called simultaneous contrast and value. What that is I want my moon to be brighter. The yellow is so bright, the colors are so vibrant that like it calls a lot of attention. The white of my paper can't get any whiter. So I want it to be brighter. So instead of actually attempting to add to the moon, which can't be added to, the paper is as bright as it can get. I'm going to shade the area around it. So it's almost counterintuitive. You're like, I'm trying to make the moon brighter, so I'm going to add darks. You're like, what? Add darks? I'm making it brighter. I'm increasing the contrast between the light area by darkening the sky around it. And hopefully you can tell that it is more prominent now. I can even darken the edges significantly. Oh, and the moon is backwards. If this is the sun shining its light on the moon, it would be on the other side. Okay, at least I acknowledged it. All right, let's do a break. Let's see what people have. I'm going to stop the share. Does anybody want to have courage and show theirs first? Yeah, go for it, Ellie. I'm going to pin you though. Pin. Nice. Wow. Nice. Look at all the those flowers. It's like yeah, do you want to say something? I appreciate you raising your hand, but you guys can just talk.
I like kind of shaded in the whole spot with yellow. So like looks brighter.
What, the sun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold it up again.
Probably see it that.
Yes, no, I see it now. It's a beautiful butterfly. It's just a gorgeous arrangement. All of the flowers are like so unique, uniquely designed. Okay, so maybe I'll just go down the line. Who do I have next? Jackson? Or no? Is it Tegwin and Rowan? Tegan and Rowan, sorry.
Can I go?
Yeah. Was that you, Jackson? Go for it.
It's Tegwin.
I haven't
Tegwin, okay.
finished my moon yet, but
All right, replace pin. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
draw in a moon with clouds, but I didn't quite finish that in time.
Yeah. And that cluster of flowers, I mean, it's just so, looks so good. I feel like it could just it could keep growing if you wanted it to.
When I
But-
was doing it, I had a couple flowers, but they weren't connected at all. So I connected them all and it looks like a bush now.
Yeah, exactly. It has a mass.
And then I did like a shading type bath animal to make them look better.
So I pushed the color pencils because that was like my mindset. But the value, using lights, darks, soft edges, crisp edges, excellent work. All right, Tagwin, let's see what you got. I'm gonna replace the pen.
I'm gonna show mine.
All right, let's see. Is that
Yeah, he's going first.
dag? That is sweet. The symmetry is awesome. Yes. Okay, that flower is like exactly like how they did it in the book. Good work. It's a solid page. Anybody else?
Wait, I'm going.
Yeah, let's see it.
I haven't colored my butterfly yet, but
That's okay. That is an original butterfly. Nice. Yeah, I feel like you know a little bit about butterflies already.
I have a little bit of experience.
A little bit of experience. Oh, fantastic. All right. Is it Jenna? Janaya? Add pin, replace pin. Janaya, you're up. Yes.
Hi, here. I didn't get a chance.
Oh, yeah. Will you lift up a little bit higher? Yes. You created a whole world. Yeah, those are great. Those are great. Yeah, that's such a good sketchbook page too. It's just nice having it in the sketch. Yeah, I love sketchbooks. Yeah, keep that train going. Amelia, can we see yours?
Sure.
There it is. Magical. All your birds. Cool. Yeah, I feel like that is it feels like, you ever seen like a page of stickers? Like you have like all these different, you have like these different component parts. That's what it feels like. It's so nice. It feels like it's like a Rolodex of components. How about Madeline? I think you're next. Great work.
Okay.
And then if you guys want to keep all your work in a portfolio, or even have your parents email it, I guess a couple people emailed it, but not very many. So if you want to email these, they're really nice to do.
I'm having all of mine in my one art book, so that'll be together at the end of the year.
Okay, that's fine. However wants to go.
Okay, so I didn't have color pencil, so I just did like an abstract with markers.
Yes, you did it. Thank you. Hopefully the markers, yeah, the markers translate really nicely. That was a good sketch. And the border is really nice too. I like having like non-rectangular edges. All right, Naomi, let's see what you're up to. Besides eating an enormous bacon cheeseburger on your profile. Yeah. All right. Yeah, the tones are so nice. Your value structure, the way they're blended. Those are fantastic. Yeah, I mean, and I feel like that your piece you could just keep going with those beautiful roses. You know what I mean? And I guess that's just me. For everybody, it's like you have 4, like 8 is going to be better. Like 12 is going to be better than 8. I mean, do you just keep like growing that bush, the rose bush? And I think the way Picasso got away with it is that his were like, he cropped it. And when you have drawings of bigger pages, like the viewer wants them to be expanded on. All right, Sebastian, you're up. How'd you do?
I decided to try oil pastels.
Dag, cool, cool, cool. Wow, let's keep holding it up. Keep going. Move it a little closer because I think it's silhouetted from behind. Yeah, now we can actually see your colors.
So yeah, I only colored the butterfly's wings just because I wanted to emphasize that.
Yeah, that's a really nice page. And you let the space between really work. I mean, if you look at the paper in between the leaves and the petals and the butterfly, like the negative space, the empty space, feels really balanced to me. It's like a nice composition with that rectangle. Cool, good work. Simone, you're next. And then let's see how many more. That's Noah. What a nice butterfly. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Steady, slow and steady. Noah, you want to go? Replace paint. No, are you asleep? Wake up. And if you don't want to show, you don't have to show. And if you are getting a snack, we'll check in later. All right, let me go back to the share. Did anybody not show that wanted to show? I think I got everybody. Rock and roll, people.
Can I share?
Yeah, who was that?
Eden.
Oh yeah, Eden. There you are. Okay, you're next to Sebastian. Please share. I'm gonna replace. There you go. You're good to go.
Here's mine.
Oh my gosh, are those pens?
I
Those
use
watercolor pens?
yeah, I use watercolor pens. I use alcohol markers, and I use like a brush pen, a black brush pen.
Were you like those leaves? Did you paint around them or did you add white on top of the dark? Did you add light on dark?
Yeah, I have like a
Yes.
white gel pen thing.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. That's so fun. Well, you had a party. That was so good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So I keep hearing a ring, but my phone is turned off. Is it? Are you guys hearing it too? Oh wait, maybe it's in my iPad. Okay, it is in my iPad. I was like, if I'm starting to hear cell phone rings in my that are not there, I'm going to be very concerned. Screen share, iPad. Okay, cool. So let's just try this line drawing, and I don't know. I don't think it's like that hard, but I think it's going to be a whole series of S curves, and I think you'll get this drawing as we go. You can try to go. I mean, I would just say I'm a little intimidated because it's Jericho, and his birthday is my birthday. He's like, so he's one of my favorite artists. So I have like this bias towards genius. I'm like, okay, he's a genius, so there's no way I can actually do this. Like Picasso, I'm like, Picasso, whatever. I can do Picasso for breakfast. Jericho, ooh, he's like one of the people that I like. My heart like skips because he's so good, and he anyway, he's just like what he did, and he died young too. He died like in his like early 40s. Like I'm the same age as I'm the same age now, I think, like when he died. So like I'm not planning on going anywhere, but it's like he did so much work. And I haven't done that much work. I mean, unless you include YouTube videos, but I don't think those count for masterpieces. All right, so this is one I was thinking about. I mean, I love this lion. We can keep going with it. We'll see how it goes. Let's just learn. I kind of want to learn the vocab of what he's working with and kind of the parts of the lion in this profile. If you want to start drawing something, you know, it's a really good place to start with the profile, like the silhouette. That used to be a kind of a standard approach to learning to draw. And I don't know where it went. But you know, if you look through like all like the childhood sketchbooks of, some of the greatest painters from Lautrec to, to Jericho. They'd always start off analyzing their subject in the profile. So let me zoom in further, and we'll just try to do this. We'll try to do this together. We'll try to use this. We'll do this like it's kind of like, it's not a brainwashing exercise, but it's a training exercise in the sense that we need to train our brain to make a mark and to name the thing as we draw it. So like I did copies when I was younger, your age, where I was just like copying the lines as I saw them and didn't necessarily name the thing that I was drawing, especially when it comes to like anatomy. And we're just going to try and do that here. And it's all very doable. So where's my pencil? Okay. I'm going to use just a regular pencil. We're going to start with the eye. And the eye is thankfully, there's no details inside the eye. We're going to do the upper eyelid, which is going to be, interesting. So the parts of the eye are going to be the upper eyelid, the tear duct, and then the lower eyelid. And we have to like basically abstractly, when I say abstract, it's like we have to draw this object, that solid object. It looks like a and if I added a stem right here, see how it looks like a flower blossom, like one side, other side, and then the I don't know. I try to name things. I try to like compare things. So let's just do it little by little. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start with the tear duct. So this is going to be my starting point. I'm going to S curve up, and this is going from up the eyeball, and it's curling around the round part of the eyeball. So this is my first S curve. And then I'm going to concave, do a swelling down. So this is my combination of my upper eyelid. Tear duct, again, S curve on the inside, and then I'm going to do a arc swelling down, on basically the brow ridge. Like it's like kind of part of the eyebrow. Now you would think that I was going to do the lower eyelid first, which I guess I will. I'm just going to do this lower eyelid. So the lower eyelid is a piece of skin that wraps around the rounded ball of the eye. So the eye, even in these cats or whatever, mammals are spherical. So if you do this curve and you draw this bottom curve, you almost want to imagine that it's wrapping around the eyeball. My dog Bailey, he's like super old. You can actually see like the skin starting to like fall down a little bit, like it droops. This guy is a young, is a young lion, so it's not that droopy, but it still is going to be rounded across that eye. Now, the reason I was going to say I'm going to hold off on the lower eyelid is because this upper eyelid right here, the part of the concave down, that, believe it or not, we're going to use a construction line. We need to do the brow ridge. So this is called the sausage. It's actually where the eyebrow is, in the corner of the eye. And that's going to swoop up and give us the eyebrow. So this is the sausage. So where's my sidebar paper? I'm going to put this right here. Breakfast sausage looks like this. And it's, it's a cylinder. It's rounded on this side. It's got a long cylindrical tube of meat, and then it rounds off at the end. And then it's like kind of cut off right there. So that is like the brow sausage. And that's how it is in humans. Here, it's a little bit S-curvy. So it's going to go up and then back down. But it's still the same thing. It's still the same brow ridge in that it's cylindrical. And the weird thing about these animals is that it's they have hair everywhere. They still have eyebrows, and you can actually look at your dog, and your dog has different hair around its eyebrow, even though there's hair all over its face. Dog or cats, whatever. Okay, right here, and then above this brow ridge, there's a little accent. It just has to do with the skull, so you might as well put that little dot in there. Just like in humans, the eyeball floats inside of a socket. So the socket is made up of a bone all the way around it. And then there's skin that holds the ball inside of the socket. And usually the skin has, you can actually identify where, the skin, where basically the bone begins, where the eye ends, the bone begins. And that's what this line is right here. This line represents the edge of the eye socket. Is it skin? Yes, it is skin. But it's the transition from the skin that is on the lower lid into the bone structure. And I'm not going to draw it just yet because we have to get into the nose, but this is eye socket here and it curves into the cheekbone. Ooh, yeah. So look at that epic S curve. There's so few marks and they're just all perfectly placed. All right, I put that in there. We gotta get this guy looking like a lion. And in order to get any animal looking like an animal is supposed to look, you have to do eyes, nose, mouth, ears. Every mammal has all of these things. And they're all different shapes, they're different sizes, and they're in different proportions. So we've got our eyes. We have the brow ridge, which is nice. Just like humans, there's a little bit of a unibrow area. So we're going to transition from the brow ridge into the length of the nose, the long side of the nose before we get into, it's like the top of the nose. And on the front, it's square or rectangular, but from the side, we don't have to worry about anything but the angle. So this is the top of the nose of the lion. And then there's going to be a little vertical for the front of the nose. And it's going to curl under. So it's like this makes this little arrow shape, front, under, and then the nostril is going to kick up. That's the nostril hole. And then if you think about the pointy S curve of the tip of the rose petal, this is where we get it again. So it's going to S curve into this spade. This is where the bottom, like this is the nostril here. This is the bottom of the nostril. It's going to lead into the mustache. And you can actually fill that in. Should we fill in the, this is the nostril hole. We can fill in the eye. Well, I don't want to fill in the eye because I want to draw the eye in there. But maybe if we draw the pupil, like he's a big cat. Let's draw that like that. Cat's eyes look like this. With the eye, and then they have like these. The pupils are not round. Anyway, we might wind up shading that in later. Okay, the mustache of the lion, the separation between the nose and the upper lip is significant. And I always, when I draw it, I always use an oval. And there's always an exception to the rule. I'm always saying like use straight lines because you can always curve out a straight line. You can still straighten out a curve. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm this whole big area, this egg shape of the mustache region in between the nose and the mouth. The reason I find it useful is because I use an egg because the dots for the whiskers all are in like a row, and that row, and he doesn't do it here, but I've drawn lions for a long time. Lions, tigers. I'm going to draw the egg shape here at the top. Actually, I'll do it up here. There's this egg, and then you can almost imagine like the way you would, if you were decorating an Easter egg, you're putting lines from one end to the other end to make it striped. Those lines, if you would turn them into a string of beads or pearls. Pearls, I didn't know this, but pearls can't bump up against one another or else it damages them. So that's why there's always little knots in between pearls on a necklace. So there's like a space between, so they will never actually make contact with one another and damage them. So these little dots that I'm putting for the whiskers are along that string, which are those lines for the on the egg. They're all a little bit separated. Okay, so the upper lip goes from the nose, so it's the front, and then it's going to cut under. So here comes the straightening out of this mustache region. And then right where the tooth happens, that's when we're going to get the beginning of the mouth. So there's the upper lip. And if you open your own mouth, everyone thinks that you have the corner of the mouth. You do have a corner, but you open your mouth, the upper lip and the lower lip, it's all the same plane. Like the upper lip transitions into the lower lip perfectly. Now, the lions open their mouth up wider than humans do, so there's a lot more extra skin. So when they open their mouth, it droops a little bit, and that's where this is. So this is upper lip coming down here, and then it droops a little bit in this corner before it turns into the lower lip. And of course, I have not done any teeth yet, and there's a teeth and a tongue in there, which is wild. The lower lip, just like ours, turns into the chin. And then that chin turns into neck hair or chin hair. Now, don't get too excited because the mane is just like our hair. Everyone thinks that you just have hair on your head. There's bangs, then there's temple hair, then there's sideburns, then there's the lettuce in the back, and then there's just like different parts of the hair. And if you can identify those parts of the hair, it makes it a lot easier to draw in humans and also in lions. So I just needed to close off where the chin was, and that's where we are. So we have this this lower lip, this long curving upper lip, and then we can put the canine tooth at the bottom. You got a fang at the top, fang at the bottom. Oof, scary. There is a tongue in here, which I think is just another fang shape. We could also talk, there's more things that you can do about the tongue. But this is Jericho. It's just it's very abbreviated. Are you guys with me, by the way? Am I going too fast, going too slow? It's good, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm really once we get this forehead in here, which is very easy, it's just an S curve again. So the brow swells out, the forehead dips in at a concavity, and then it swells out in the occipital bone. We have the same thing. Our brow ridge swells out. There's this little dip up here, and then we have the big parietal eminence, rather. The parietal eminence is the part of your skull that is the frontal lobe. It's your brain, but it's the skull, and then very quickly your brain. It's hard to imagine, but your brain comes out further than your eyes. In most people, if you were to do like a CT scan from the side, that's what this is here. So we have the brow, which swells out, the base of the forehead, which swells in, and then the parietal. The occipital bone, parietal eminence. I'm sorry, occipital bone is behind the ear, the base of your skull in the back. Parietal eminence is your forehead in the front. That looks good. Looks good. Good. So the whole part of the face here is framed by hair. So our face is defined, on the hypotenuse. So this whole lion's head, is not a right angle, if you will. Like if you see this to this, I probably should have said that first, but I didn't see it. I mean, that's wild. I did not see that, this line and this line make sort of a 90-degree angle. Maybe my nose needs to come out further to like further echo that. Who knows? Beautiful geometry though. And then there's the arc of the silhouette, like almost like it's like one big piece of pizza or something. So let's just talk about the marks for the hair. You have the bangs, then you have the ear, and then the hair that comes out of the ear in front of the ear is just like in people. They're sideburns. Everybody has sideburns, and they're S curving down, and then there's hair that goes down like the hair that's basically on the neck. It's like if this is the jawline, the face has fur on it, but then everything behind the bangs is going to be mane, which is mane is essentially head hair transitioning into neck hair. So let me erase my egg, Easter egg. We'll do bangs here. I don't care how you do the ear. You could do the outside rim first, and then you could do the inside, or you could do the inside and then the outside. You know, in one context, the ear could be a rectangle. You know, it's got a short side, a long side, and a short side. Short side, long side, short side. You know, that's how you would block it off. And then you could round off. You could round off those straight lines. It does feel like it comes, it sweeps up, curves, and then back in. Nice. Beautiful S curves for these bangs, sideburns, excuse me. And then he's got hair, looks like it goes back in like a mohawk or whatever. So bangs, and then we'll have hair coming down the side. And that could enter into our neck hair or our chin hair. So the only other thing is the zygomatic arch. So the zygote is basically this cheekbone that starts in the front and it goes all the way back to the ear. If you've ever seen makeup, there's a thing called blush. I think it's blush. Well, blush I think makes your cheeks look rosy, but then you can also put you can actually basically put darker tones
Contour.
underneath your cheekbone. What's it called?
Contour.
Contour. So the contour makes your cheekbones seem more prominent because it makes the top part lighter and the underside darker. So it makes that form come out a little bit more. And that's what he's describing in here. And it's actually, the mouth is open. So if you imagine if you open your mouth and then your skin, your chubby cheeks get stretched, and you know it'll become, and depending on how wide you go, it can actually go concave. The skin can actually go in kind of between your teeth. So this little zigzag triangle here that I just put in, this little zigzag element is tonal, and it's the underside of the cheekbone, and it's also the stretching. It's also the stretching of the skin of the cheeks. Amazing. Amazing. Look at that. Look at his hair up here. It's just one constant line. It's like it doesn't need. Yeah, and there's very little tone. That's not a bad intro though. Okay, so that goes here. You guys can, we've got, this goes till noon, right? Here's a little test. This is not really a test. It's just if you want to do it. Which, if you're still working on this guy down here, you know, keep working on. You can, what you can do, it's called, actually we probably should do that. I was gonna say we should call it what's called drawing the drawing. And it was, if you think about the Picasso wing where it had a thick border, you have to draw that thickness. So I'm looking at, like, he had a pen which made and he was able to control the thickness or the thinness of his lines, deliberately. And our pencils, they generally, I mean, I know Eden was working with those pens, so she has actually that flexibility. If you're working with just regular pencil, you may not have that same flexibility. So you have to, where the lines go thick, you just have to draw them. Just to like go over your lines and make them thicker. And, I'm seeing it in the lips. If you think about a lion, you think about a dog, they usually have like these, there's something shiny and like dark about those lips. I want to clarify the difference between the lips and the chin. And I still feel like the chin maybe should have some fur on it or something. Yeah, I was going to draw this guy up here really quickly. But now I'm thinking maybe I should really finish the line we just spent all this time decoding. And just by drawing the drawing, shading the inside of the ear, give that some pop. It's hard to tell where the light source is coming from. I'm not sure if he really knew. If not, didn't know, he maybe perhaps didn't decide. I did want to just try this over here. Eye, pupil, cheekbone. Oh, look at that sausage. Wow. It's a little depression up there. It's a different angle. So you're actually seeing parts of the other eye. So there's this other brow ridge, maybe even part of the other eye on the other side. Here's the top of the nose, front of the nose. This big egg shape for the upper lip. Upper lip on the right, upper lip on the left. The mouth is closed here. And he's got a much more prominent chin. Much more prominent chin. And it looks like it's got fur on it. You can see the droop in the corner of the mouth. You can see the brow ridge, and then we can see the depression, and then the parietal eminence. One ear. I'm putting in sideburn hair with seeing bangs. And you even get a little bit of the ear on the other side. Cheekbone. I'm going to add that toner. Can't remember. Oh, look at that tear duct. Yes. So glad the tear duct is there. We got a little bit more room on this right side. So I think you see the whole body. Yeah, you do. Here's the neck hair. So the bangs are here, then there's the hair that's on the top of the head, and then I guess this is the hair that's on the back of the head. And then back here must be the neck hair. That's crazy interesting. Try to fit everything on the screen at once. So I guess the part I just marveled at was bangs, sideburns, and then the hair that's on the back of the head. You can tell that's coming off the skull. And then this is the hair that goes back on his neck. It almost looks like a hoodie. Like I'm wearing a hoodie right now. It's like that hoodie, like, covers my neck. So it's like I have hair and then I have neck coverage. And it does keep me warm. Okay, sorry, y'all. I'm gonna stop the share. Oh, Noah, that's really nice compliment. Thank you. I try. you know, a lot of times people think like, oh, how long did it take you? You know, when people don't understand something, the way that they approach the art, they're like, how you'll find this if you show people your art, you're gonna be like, how long did it take you to do? And you're like, I don't know. It's almost like irrelevant. But like for somebody that knows that it's good, but like can't wrap their head around it, they gravitate towards thinking like if they know how long it took, they can equate its value or something. Anyway, the notion for Jericho, it's like that, like this drawing may have taken 4 minutes, but it also took 40 years. I'm like 41 years old. I've been drawing a very long time. So it's not the individual component, it's like everything that's led up to it. So beautiful outside today. You guys want to see my you guys want to see my butterfly on the chalkboard? It's not very good, but I'll show it to you anyway. No, I'll take a picture of it. I'll email it to you. I want to see your guys' lines because we don't have that much time. I'm going to stop the share. Let's see these lions, see if I did a good job teaching. Whoa, cool. Nice.
To be honest, I'm just really, really bad at drawing lions.
Yeah, right, man. That thing
I've
is
tried so
epic.
many
That
times.
thing
It
is
just
epic.
doesn't work.
So if you strengthen the line of the lips and made them more prominent than like and then maybe even lightened the mustache area, it'll come together like way better. All right, Madeline, you're in line. I'm just gonna go down the line. Place pin. Yeah, cool. That looks good. I'm glad you went with those pens. Eden, how about you? Did you get to use your pens? I'm not gonna like do a full critique. I just want to see them.
So I drew it loosely once right here
Yes.
with pens. Then I used pencil right here.
Uh-huh.
And then I decided to look at like a real line. I don't know,
Yeah.
picture of a line and do this.
So good. Isn't it so nice to like see an artist's interpretation of nature and then going directly to nature and knowing like you can have so much, there's so much more when you're working with nature, but you have tools to enter into it, having studied the artist. Sebastian, you're next on the row.
So I decided to look at how I would go about drawing a lion and then a person.
Yes, that's very Rubens of you. I'll see if I can dig that up next week. Rubens did the same thing. He turned his, he looked at the lion like the most majestic of beasts, and then equated it to Hercules and gave his version of Hercules aspects of the lion so that they could like be, have the same spirit, which is cool. I think Hercules did defeat a lion at one point. All right, Janaya, I'm gonna replace the pin. And you're on mute, but that's okay. You're enjoying that beautiful day. Look at that wind, that cove. You got an art, your art cove is so sweet.
Oh, thank you. Can you really see it? You probably can't see it because of the light. It's not done just yet.
It's okay. If you go in a little bit further.
Like that?
Yes. It's like it's like you're bringing your drawing out of heaven, like down into this. It's got that glow. Nice.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, there's something about the nose. It's like, it seems like too pointy or something, but I can't tell. It's a great drawing.
Thank you.
All right, where are we now? Amelia, you're up next. Oh no, I'm sorry. Ellie's next.
Oh, I drew both lines.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Oh my goodness. That's fantastic. Nice. I'm glad you framed it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, these lions are vicious, man. That thing's intimidating. Awesome. Amelia, can we see yours? Oh yeah. Nice shapes. I like those solid shapes. Yeah, the drawing the lines. And yeah, I think like if you keep working, I don't know if you took a screenshot of it or whatever, But I think the bridge of the nose is a little, like the top of the nose is a little light. And that might strengthen the lips and the nose. If they get a little darker, it'll make it pop. Awesome though, thank you. Naomi or Madeline, did we see yours? Yeah, you just showed it. Okay, Simone. Yes, that looks like my dog Bailey. Not that that looks like a dog, it's just Bailey looks like a lion. I love it. Thank you so much. Good mark making. Great style too. Naomi, are you up? Can you do it? And then the siblings, Tegwin and Rowan are next. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's like an exact copy. Wow. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Where'd those where'd everybody go? There they are. Okay, Tegwin. Please. Yep, we're ready. I got you. Tegwin, you guys are on mute, Rowan. Oh wow. Yeah, those lines and the shapes are so clean.
Thanks.
Beautiful eye. Yeah, really nice eye, really nice mouth. That's great. That's a fantastic drawing. That should go on a t-shirt. We should email schools that have lion mascots. Oh, go back. That was good. I need
One
to
second. Hold on. He's
Sweet, dude. Nice ear too.
Thank you.
Rad. Totally rad. Okay. That was awesome. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. I'll see you all next